Oh, it's great to be back. What's up, solutionaries? Maj Toure here. Welcome to the Maj Toure Show. I want to make sure that everybody's tapping in. Let me know. Y'all know the routine. Where you watching from? What platform? What city? Make sure you put it in the comment section. If you're watching this on X, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Maj Toure. If you're watching it on YouTube, subscribe to the Twitter channel or X. Okay, X at Maj2Ray999. Doesn't matter where you're watching it. If you're watching it on Facebook, watch it on the other platforms and make sure that you are following, subscribing. What's up, y'all? It's been a while. Tried to get the building bought. Y'all lamed out. I say that in the most loving and supportive way. What up, Trip? How you? Trip, I'm going to lean on you a little bit for this one because you in D.C. We're going to be talking D.C. politics. For those of y'all that don't know, Trump is threatening a military takeover of D.C. That was a clickbait title. I want to be real. That was a bit of a clickbait title. All right? It was there to get you guys to recognize this conversation that is damn near as old as America. I ain't even going to say damn near. It is as old as America. Big Rob, what's up? Protocol, what's up? Guys, everybody, it's been a minute. I've been running around trying to get stuff done, but at the end of the day, you guys know the routine. We try to get 10 folks to give $20 in super chats. Please support whatever local business. If you got your own business, when you do a super chat supporting our work, put the website, put your social media handle, put something in there so people can support those businesses. We got to utilize each one of these platforms, opportunities to make sure we pushing a bunch of different stuff. Johnson, go hustle. What's up? Come on, y'all. Tell me where y'all from. I know Trip down there in D.C., and we're going to talk about D.C. today. For those of y'all that don't know, my very first podcast that I ever did in my life was with Trip Simpson. I came down there and we did another one. I need to get some of that content too from you, brother, because that location where we shot the second time we did it, it was a passionate conversation too with the other brother. Not Cosby, but the brother that, in that second one. But anyway, you guys make sure you follow Trip Simpson. That not only was he my very first podcast, very first time I ever did it. Okay, that's one. Two, he's a firefighter and he's supporting and supportive of our work and has been down with our work for some time. So anyway, make sure you guys support the folks and subscribe to the folks that's talking at Liberty Minded Talk. And hit the like button. Everybody in here should be hitting the like button. We now up to 54 folks watching. We need all of the love and support we can get. Just hit the like button, comment, and all that stuff. Anyway, Trump threatens the military takeover of D.C. Now, for those of you that are not aware, D.C. hasn't been a city or a state. D.C. is a District of Columbia, and it's always been federally controlled, for lack of a better term. Okay? Always been. Every single time. The whole time. All right. Now, there's conversation about this thing called home rule, and we're going to get into some of that today. But I want to make sure that first I got to make sure that I got the right plug-in because I don't want to lose my damn run out of charge. Hold on 1 second, y'all. While I'm waiting on this, I want y'all to hold up. While I'm waiting on this, I want y'all guys to comment, hit like, and all that other stuff. But I'm gonna speed through this one tonight. But let's get started real quick while I go find a plug. I want y'all to listen to what Trump's saying and comment in the section right here. All right, let's get right to it because I gotta find something to plug this damn computer up with. I'm hitting y'all from the laptop because I like my laptop because that's why. But anyway, let's check this out. Let's listen to Trump talking about these and give me a comment if make
back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough. And they know what's happening. And they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly. And you people are victims of it too. You're reporters, and I understand a lot of you tend to be on the liberal side, but you don't want to get mugged and raped and shot and killed. And you all know people and friends of yours that happened. And so you can be anything you want, but you want to have safety in the streets. You want to be able to leave your apartment or your house where you live and feel safe and go into a store to buy a newspaper or buy something. And you don't have that now. The murder rate in Washington today is higher than that of Bogota, Colombia, Mexico City, some of the places that you hear about as being the worst places on earth, much higher. This is much higher. The number of car thefts has doubled over the past 5 years, and the number of carjackings has more than tripled. Murders in 2023 reached the highest rate probably ever. They say 25 years, but they don't know what that means because it just goes back 25 years. Can't be worse. Our capital city has been overtaken by violent gangs and bloodthirsty criminals, roving mobs of wild youth, drugged out maniacs and homeless people. And we're not going to let it happen anymore. We're not going to take it. Just like we did on our southern border. Nobody comes through our southern border anymore. 3 months in a row, we had zero. I don't know if that's right, but the people that do the work, it's a very liberal group of people, actually, and they actually said zero for the last 3 months. Nobody thought a thing like that was possible. And, when you take a look at numbers, I just saw some charts. These are different cities throughout the world. Red is, okay, the red is a place called Washington, D.C. Look at these. Baghdad we doubled up on Baghdad. Panama City, Brasilia, San Jose, Costa Rica, Bogota, Colombia, heavy drugs. Mexico City, I mentioned, Lima, Peru, all double and triple what they are. So do you want to live in places like that? I don't think so. And I think the people in this room, if you wrote correctly, you'd see, look at the kind of numbers we have. DC, 41 per 100,000, number one that we can find anywhere in the world. Other cities are pretty bad, but they're not as bad as that. That where you want to live? The reporters of the world? Juvenile offenders and crimes against persons, as they say. It's getting worse. Not getting better, it's getting worse. And we had a recent indication. There was a story about a man who was just left. He quit because he was asked to do phony numbers on crime. And we're going to look into that. I think Pam is going to be looking into that. But he was asked by the city, I guess, that we don't want to show the real numbers. Let me do numbers so it looks like it's going down. Not going down. And under Biden, it was a disaster. And nobody did anything about it. We're going to do things about it like you wouldn't believe. It's time for dramatic action. We're going to do the same thing over here. It's going to be a very safe city very soon. We're not looking to just take years because a lot of people die in years. And we've got incredible people in this country, except we have to allow them to do their job. And that we will deliver like nobody's ever delivered before. I actually think it's easy. If you're competent, it's easy. If you're incompetent, it's impossible.
Let me say this real quick, Solutionaries. Again, everybody tapping in. This is the Maj Toure Show. I want to thank you all for tapping in real quick. I want to hear everybody's perspective. However, this situation looks like absolute cap to me. Now, I want to hear everybody's perspective. I want to be very clear. To me, this looks like Trump is attempting to get more and more federal overreach. Now, to me, I am a anti-federalist. I believe that when the nation was created, there was a concern about turning it into a monarchy. Instead of it being King George, it was the federal government would be the monarchy. And that's what we're looking like. These are further and further erosions. Now, again, I want to be very clear. DC operates like a city. And for those of y'all that don't know, we're going to go a little bit into the Home Rule Act of 73, if I'm not mistaken. We're going to go into some explanations. If you guys have questions, we're going to talk about Why is DC a District of Columbia? Because there's different theories, and we have to make sure that we're expounding on some of these theories because some of them have been debunked, right? And some of them are legitimate, okay? One of them, because I've been down this rabbit hole of like sovereign citizens and DC being a corporate charter of the corporation known as the United States and all of those different conversations. Now, some of these perspectives have merit, right? But our job is to talk about facts. Now, DC being a federally owned, operated, and controlled, because that's pretty much what it is, the Home Rule Act does give Trump the ability to basically have the federal police take over. So we're not talking about the legality of how DC is structured. As it relates to that, he's 100% on board. As it relates to, is he lawfully capable of doing it? Okay, that's not an issue. That's not a concern. That is true. Okay. However, today we're going to talk about what's his actual reason for doing it. Because Trump, to me, and I like Trump on certain things. I want to be very clear. I like Trump on certain things. However, sometimes the Trump administration is doing things that some conservatives or liberty-minded folks, or they just dislike the left, they don't want to call the bullshit on or say, hey, that's starting to look like this. This looks like more federal overreach. If you guys don't notice, the Trump administration and more presidents are moving and operating through executive actions and executive orders more so than Congress. The tariffs conversation is a part of that. Tariffs are, it could be a tool, but these things are supposed to get ratified and go through Congress. That's what's supposed to happen. But we're getting more and more presidents just damn near ruling by decree, right? So-called executive orders and executive actions. And this looks like that. Now, again, if it's lawful in the state, right, or territory or District of Columbia, it's because it's a federal city, okay? But then I start hearing Trump say things like, we may do this in other cities like Chicago. You have no fucking constitutional or congressional authority to do so. DC as a district was created that way, so you can there. But don't try to do a rollout for other cities. And we need some of the conservatives and or liberty-minded folks that may like Trump or voted for Trump or supported for Trump to call it up the middle. Trump is not the guy because you like him. Trump is a public servant that the Electoral College said, we want this guy in. But our job as Americans, sovereign individuals, that if we choose to send our representatives to DC to speak for us, and if someone is doing something outside of their constitutional lane, we need to say, hey, you need to step off the gas a little bit. And why am I saying that? Because crime is down in every category in 2024, FBI says. Now, I know some of y'all going to say, well, Maj, that's for the country. Those are national stats. From what I'm hearing, the crime is down in D.C. as well. But D.C. is federal. When I hear President Trump saying, we might try to roll this out to other cities, that's where I start going, fuck no. You're trying to overdo it. But before we get to this, I want to go to something else real quick. I want to go to what home rule is. Because I think a lot of people need to know what that is, because some people think that, it's not home rule. This isn't, what does that mean? They just don't understand what it means. They don't know what home rule actually is. Okay? So let's pull that up on the screen. Let's jump on that real quick. DC Home Rule is shorthand for the DC Home Rule Act of 1973, which allowed DC residents to elect the mayor, DC council members, and advisory neighborhood commissioners who run day-to-day affairs for the district. Before Congress passed and President Nixon signed the DC Home Rule Act of 1973 into law, federally appointed commissioners and members of Congress, never elected by DC residents, shared the responsibility of running the district's local laws and budget. Congressional offices fielded calls about DC's potholes, trash pickup, schools, crime, in addition to all the calls they were getting from their constituents in their home states. History from before the Home Rule era suggests that Congress struggled to manage DC and that members of Congress were regularly reminded of their responsibility by DC residents who demanded improvements. By 1973, after nearly 100 years of trying to manage local affairs, many members of Congress were quite eager to give up the responsibility, even those who had wanted to maintain power over the majority black district. I want y'all to be very clear. DC black as hell. Okay? DC's black as hell. And so you're going to start hearing conversation. Somebody said super chats ain't going. I don't know what's happening there. Somebody else do a super chat. It's going to sound like cat. Somebody else do a super chat and let me know if your super chats is going through. Trip Simpson says the super chats ain't going through for some reason. Y'all let me know. I want to be very clear. DC black as hell. And I say that in a good way because you have some conservatives that seem to act like a city being black is a bad thing, or it's going to be because it's a black city. It used to be, I don't know if they still call it. Hey, Trip, do they still call DC Chocolate City? I'm not sure, right? Just because you call something it's a lot of black people does not mean that it's automatically going to be horrible and riddled with crime, okay? I want to be very, very clear about that. There's other areas that are majority black and it's not riddled with crime. Bad policy is what makes cities bad. Trip says, hell no, don't nobody call DC Chocolate City no more. Okay, just making sure. But my point in sharing this with you guys is there's going to be the racial component that's going to come about this shortly in the future, right? Some of the more leftist people that call everything racist, they're going to say, oh, the reason why Trump is doing this, not the facts of DC is a federal city, for lack of a better term. Those people are going to say he doing it because DC black. And that's not really the case. I think it more fits the profile of it is a federal city that he can lawfully utilize because it's not a city. And he can go, all right, I'm going to do federal police. And if he's federal police, he says, this is my space and I get to do what I want here. Trump being limited in areas when I don't know where he's limited now because they got the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. But when a Republican president is limited, they might try to find other ways where they can stretch out a little bit. Okay, this is Trump just trying to flex his muscles his glory muscles. But at the same time, to me, it starts to look like it's a bunch of nothing. I don't think it means anything. I think when these types of moves happen, and again, if y'all in the chat, everybody hit the like button. Tell me what you think. You watch it on X, please do me a huge favor. Repost this. That's all. Cost you nothing, right? I think that when these types of nothing moves happen, I looked at the press conference that we was just looking at. You had Kash Patel there. You had this person here. You had they was just standing around looking like fucking bumps on logs. Okay? Because this doesn't seem like it means anything. And I want y'all to tell me in the chat, what do you think this actually means maybe locally for DC? This is like a symbolic gesture. Okay? Now, unless there's some sovereignty move, the underground move, some QAnon shit that y'all want to tell me about that I'm not hip to, right? This doesn't really advance anything. Oh my God, Trip with the $20 super chat. That's the first one. We need 9 more, folks. Trip says the YNs have taken complete control. Now, I'm going to be real, y'all. My brother Trip Simpson he's conservative. He's our brother. But our brother Trip Simpson don't give no room for the young folks. Our brother's like, nah, if it ain't absolute peace, it's the YN's fault. Tell me why you think that and tell me what it's looking like. Because now, again, this argument that I heard somebody stuff the stats to, I don't know if that stat padding as far as the crime goes in DC, if it was padded to make it look like it was more crime or less crime. But please, Trip Simpson is in DC. Comment, let me know what's going on. All right. I think that this is a bit of a deflection. And I'm going to say that from the perspective of not being disrespectful to, and if anybody wants to join in for the lines tonight, this is a call-in show. A little bit later, we chop it up. Y'all call in. Let's talk about it, right? And it is a video joint. So if you want to be on, Bookworm will put the link up in a little bit. Now, this is what I'm saying. It feel like this to me. DC Soldier, I'm assuming your name has DC in it. I'm assuming you're from DC. To me, this is giving this. Giving, right? I got to stop using that. You know what I mean? Trip, if you want to call in, especially anybody from DC, if y'all want to call in, please do. But listen, to me, it looks more like this. It looked like it's a test run. And call me a conspiracy theorist. Call me whatever you want. But this doesn't seem to look like it's something that is as pressing as the Epstein files. It's definitely not as pressing as we crossed, I think, 37 going into $38 trillion in debt. Okay, so these things look symbolic, but I don't want to say this as a disrespect to the people that may be dealing with serious crime issues in the city of DC. Okay, I don't want that to come off that way, right? But based on the FBI data, crime has been down nationally. I know that's the case. I know crime has been down nationally for some time now. For some time now. Now, the other argument is this. DC, these are the general requirements for firearm registration. Okay? Firearms registration. In general, rifles, shotguns, revolvers, and handguns may be registered in the DC District of Columbia. Please note that it is illegal to possess a magazine that holds more than 10 rounds of ammo in the District of Columbia per DC official code, yada, 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 yada. All of this. Registrant eligibility. Registration eligibility is summarized below. 21 years or older. Not stand convicted of certain weapons offenses. Not be under indictment. This concealed carry is pretty recent to DC, and I say pretty recent, not like 2 weeks ago. I say pretty recent in the sense of, because these are all of the rules, okay? Anybody that wants any of these links, please shoot me a DM, whatever platform you watch, and I'll make sure I get you all of the links so you guys can source where I'm pulling these things from for every show, okay? Shoot me a DM. Yo, Maj, on show, what's the name? You talked about the DC rules. Send me that. Especially if you're watching on X, if you're watching on whatever platform, shoot me a message. Ask me about anything that you hear in tonight's show. But my point is, you on one hand make DC very anti-gun. It's an anti-gun city. So after you make DC an anti-gun city, then you go and turn around and say, oh, the crime is crazy. Then you have leftist politicians. Then you have, when Democrats, Biden was a Democrat, was in office, presidency, it's a federally owned situation, y'all don't clean it up. Then Trump shows up and says, hey, we're going to clean it up. But you clean it up by not leaning on local law enforcement. You say, we're going to take it over federally. I am not a fan of federal government reaching into local municipalities. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it. So when these things happen, I jump out there and my antennas and my tinfoil hat go on because I want to share with y'all like what this looking like to me. This looks like a dry run. For those of y'all that don't know what a dry run is when you plotting on somebody or a situation, you practice it first. You go do some homework. You post up in front of the location, yada, yada, yada. Dry practice, dry firing, because it doesn't always have to have a negative connotation. So you make the city anti-gun, right? You have tremendous, horrific law enforcement engagement with the people or the citizens of that city. Then your government shows up and says, hey, crime is crazy. Crime is crazy. We got to do something about this. We're the government. We're here to help. I'm not. Tell me where I'm wrong. Please tell me where I'm wrong. Because I love finding out where I'm wrong. Okay? I love it. But real quick, guys, let's go over this real quick. What is Washington, D.C.? Because I know some of you guys are just tapping in. Again, everybody coming in, smash the like button. Smash the like button. We're trying to do this Monday through Friday. We need everybody to support. Don't cost you nothing to hit the like button. It costs you nothing if you're watching on X to hit that repost button. Okay? For those of y'all that's just tapping in, you might want to know, why is Trump sending the National Guard into D.C. to clean it up? I'm going to go back to that video that we played a little bit earlier for the folks that are a little bit later. You might not know why. Can he do that? Washington, D.C. isn't a state. It's a district. D.C. stands for District of Columbia. Its creation comes directly from the U.S. Constitution, which provides that the district, not exceeding 10 miles square, will become the seat of the government of the United States. Congress established the federal district in 1790 to serve as the nation's capital from land belonging to the states of Maryland and Virginia. Okay? The Constitution dictates that the federal district be under the jurisdiction of the U.S. Congress. Washington, D.C. operates as a state while also performing functions of a city and a county. They're treated as a state with more than 500 federal laws. See, I am not a fan of federal government. And when something becomes normalized, because DC operates this way, if they show any improvement, they'll say, like Trump alluded to. I want to pull that video up too. Trump alludes to saying, yeah, this is going to go further than DC. Okay? This is going to go further than DC. No, it's not, and it shouldn't. We have to make sure that we're very vocal about these things because there's a thin line. There's a very thin line here. Okay? And the founders of America said, we don't want foreign or armies, freestanding armies on our city streets. This looks like it's predictive programming a little bit. Okay? But let's read a little bit more. We are leaders in a region of 4 million people and growing. We operate our own school system. We manage our own SNAP and Medicaid programs and receive federal block grants that are typically awarded to states, such as workforce training grants, community development block grants, housing, yada, yada, yada. Now, this person, this page was advocating for DC to go into statehood. Okay? But I want to play this one here. I want to share this tab a little bit more. And I want you guys to listen to what he's saying, so y'all don't think that I'm just Maj being the conspiracy theorist. Let's listen a little bit more to what he's talking about as it relates to the national takeover of the city police and it going further than D.C.
But I'm very confident. Last week, my administration surged 500 federal agents into the district, including from the FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, the Secret Service, and the Department of Homeland Security. You know, a lot of nations, they don't have anything like that. They got some police, and they're rough police. They don't have DEA, ATF, FBI, Park Police, the U.S. Marshal Service, Secret Service, Department of Homeland Security. They got some police, but they're rough police, and they do their job. They don't have crime.
I want to pause it right there, y'all. He's trying to get you to say that it's okay for a police state, in my opinion. If somebody disagrees, please tell me. Okay? Please tell me. I don't want the DEA. I don't want unconstitutional ATF, DEA, IRS. None of these rogue agencies are called for or spoken of in the Constitution. None of them. I'm not a fucking fan. And just because I like Trump more than I liked Biden or Kamala Harris does not mean that I'm a patriot and an American and a sovereign being. I'm from that founding father liberty cloth. Okay? I'm not gonna tell y'all that we should be championing more of that. I'm not gonna tell that to y'all. It sounds like he's trying to convince his base to be okay with federal overreach in other places. But let's listen some more.
We're not going to have crime either. They made dozens of arrests, and that's what starts to happen. Again, cashless bail. Watch what we do with that. Today, we're formally declaring a public safety emergency. This is an emergency. This is a tragic emergency.
It's not a tragic emergency. Governments, if they need emergencies to steal your rights, they'll consistently make emergencies, weapons of mass destruction. We was there for 20 years. Iran has nukes. Iran can't get the nukes. They trying to still get in there. Okay? This is not an emergency. You as government, federally controlled government, let's isolate it to D.C. You made the people of D.C. anti-gun. You don't give them a thorough respect to defend themselves. Of course the fucking criminals of all backgrounds are shooting fish in a barrel. So then you show up and say, even though you created the problem as government, because where there's more safe and responsible gun owners, there's less violent crime. So you create that problem while being disrespectful to the Constitution. Then you say, oh, we need more police. The police and the National Guard and federal agents The Supreme Court decision has been upheld several times. They have no legal or moral obligation to protect you at all. This looks like Hegelian dialect to me. Pam Bondi still has not had, she's right there. Pam Bondi still mums the word on the fucking Epstein list. Pete Hegseth has done nothing in his role. Tell me where I'm wrong. This isn't an attack on anybody. It's calling balls and strikes and saying this got to be up the middle, and Trump and this administration seems to be going in an improper, non-liberty direction here. Pam Bondi has not presented the Epstein client list. Why the fuck is she there? Okay? This is Hegelian dialect. It's what it looks like to me. Let's play a little bit more.
And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful capital was, with graffiti all over the walls. It's another part of it, by the way, because we're talking about safety, but we're also talking about beautification. We have the most beautiful, potentially, capital in the world. We always had. But people come from Iowa, they come from Indiana, they come and then they get mugged. Not going to happen. Keep coming, because by the time you get your trip set, it's going to be safe again, and it's going to be clean very quickly. We're going to replace the medians that are falling down all over the roads. We're going to replace the potholes. We're going to put a nice new coat of asphalt over the top. No, we don't have to rip the road out and spend 7 years building a new road because they cut everything. Because some design.
Trump is speaking about this like he's talking about rebuilding a hotel. He's not having conversations about giving the people power and letting them defend themselves. He's talking about like streets and roads and shit. That's what they always lean on. We need more tax dollars. We need more security. We need more government. Who's going to build the roads? Who's going to protect the roads? Let the people do it. Okay? These people are talking to me in this space. And again, this isn't an attack on Trump. I live in Philly, so I'm not necessarily right now going to be impacted by this. But if I don't say anything when I see things, because again, Tripp is from DC. Tripp is in DC, right? Tripp is a fireman in DC, right? So if I don't say anything when I see stuff on these platforms, we just waiting for the fucking encroachment to come our way. This does not seem like it's. Somebody please tell me, what is the benefit of this? I want somebody in the chat, somebody on Twitter, X, everybody hit the like button, and pretty soon we're gonna put the number up. Bookworm, toss the call-in number up. But I want y'all to tell me, if you give me some pushback, I'm open to it, right? How does this actually benefit without crossing over? And again, it's DC, so it's the perfect way to test this because DC's federal. But tell me how this actually helps when those people, National Guard, I think they unarmed, if I'm not mistaken, right? I could be wrong. But they still don't have any moral or legal obligation to protect you legally. They don't. So tell me how y'all think this is going to benefit.
Well, we need a 1/4 inch more turn for safety reasons. No, we're going to do it right. We're going to get it done quickly. So today we're declaring public safety emergency in the District of Columbia, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who's fantastic, is taking command of the Metropolitan Police Department as of this moment. And I'll be making the appropriate notifications to Congress and to the mayor, our new DEA administrator, who's one of the top in the country. He better be Terry. If you're not, I'm going to get rid of you so fast. Terry Cole. Terry, thanks. Very good. We just got him. Most highly recommended person. And you'll be designated as the interim federal commissioner of the.
If you're a man who makes at least $150K a year and you feel self-conscious about your gut sticking out, I'll get you shredded or you won't pay it.
Let me pause that. If you want to get shredded, join the Solutionary 9. That's the answer. Okay? Ignore that commercial. Bookworm, put the link to the Solutionary 9 in the chat, please. If you want to get in shape, if you want to, don't blame me, y'all. The algorithm did it. I have to redirect everybody to the Solutionary 9. If you're fat and out of shape right now, that was the perfect sign. You were asking God for a sign. I'm going to help you with the sign. Sign up for the Solutionary 9. Civics, firearms basics, meal plans, workout routine, shooting drills, all that other good stuff. But let's get back to the Maj 2 ratio.
Okay? and you run them tough. They're good. You have a lot of good people. You have people that shouldn't be there. You also have people that shouldn't be there. They got in there because of woke. But you have a lot of great police, and those people are the ones that want to help you.
Pamela, it was more than an hour. He started.
All right, I'm going to pause it right there. Our brother Tripp is about to pull up on the Tripp. You ready? I'm going to pull you up on the screen now. I want to hear everybody's perspective. Now, Tripp is in D.C., so he has boots on the ground perspective on this. Everybody, please hit the like button, share, repost, all that other good stuff. I want to get our brother Tripp in here. He's going to tell us the truth, 1,000%. What's up, my brother?
Hey, what's going on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's going on?
Not too much, man. Not too much. I seen you were talking about this tonight. I was like, I gotta watch this.
So what is going on from your perspective down there in DC? Is it about the crime? What is it?
I mean, it's definitely about the crime. Like, DC is completely out of control. Like, when I made the statement earlier in the chat that the YNs have completely taken over control, like, they literally go around in groups of 20, 30, 40, 50 and just rob people, break into cars. Like, they go downtown to the high-end shopping areas. They run in the stores. They raid this. They just do whatever. And the cops literally can't do anything about it because of the laws in D.C.
Yeah. Real quick, y'all. Everybody hear me good on the audio? I want to make sure. I had to turn you down.
Got you.
Turn me down just a little bit.
Got you. I got the I have the YouTube on mute.
It might be me. I don't know. Y'all tell me if it sounds cool. Does this fix without National Guard in your opinion?
To be honest with you, I think, first of all, the National Guard, that's a non-issue, right? I think CNN is kind of doing clickbait here because the National Guard in D.C. means nothing. Like, they're good for maybe digging ditches. They don't have firearms. They don't arrest anybody. They can't really do anything. What they're actually doing is they're activating all of the different federal police offices in D.C. So D.C. has like 60 different police jurisdictions within the city, right? You got Amtrak police, you got U.S. Postal Service police, you got the Secret Service police, you got the FBI actually has its own police department separate from the FBI. That's how many police organizations that you have. And basically what they're doing is they're utilizing the federal officer workforce to try to help cut down on some of the crime. Because number one, there aren't enough people signing up to be DC cops. If you want to be a DC cop right now, they'll give you $25,000 and they'll pay like your first year rent. Some crazy shit like that. That's how desperate they are for cops. So there's a shortage of cops, and I honestly think it's necessary, although I do agree with you. I don't want a police state, but I mean, it's not really safe in D.C., to be honest with you. And it doesn't really matter what part of the city you're at in anymore. It used to be just located in one area that you knew not to go to. Now it's like it's everywhere.
Is it possible that we could get this handled by more safe and responsible?
Certainly. Definitely. Most certainly, yes.
Yeah.
But they make it so difficult in DC just to get your concealed carry. It takes like 6 months because of the ridiculousness that they put you through. And then in DC, right, after you get your concealed carry, right, every gun that you buy and register in DC, you have to buy your weapon from wherever you're buying it. They have to mail it to the DC police so that they can shoot your weapon, get the ballistics, all of that. And then you have to schedule an appointment to come pick your gun up, which takes more months. Like, it's ridiculous.
This isn't going to be solved by Trump's approach.
I to be honest with you, I like Trump's approach. It's funny, and it's funny because it's scaring everybody, but honestly, it's not going to do anything.
You don't think they're going to do nothing?
I mean, it may scare some people off the street. It may keep some people from doing certain things, but is it going to solve the problem? No.
When did DC go from, and you know, I'm in and out of DC fast, so I'm not all the way well versed in the culture. I've been there to sell weed back in the day, to leave and go do podcasts and shows. So even me saying chocolate city, that's some 90s shit in my mind.
It's more like a mocha city now. It's not.
Okay. So when did DC turn into such a YN just running around, going rampant? What happened?
I mean, it's several things. I mean, honestly, it just comes from generations and generations of, in my opinion, the biggest problem. Like, there's no family values, right? There's no family values. We have a single mother epidemic like no other in DC, and they're incentivized by the DC government. Okay, and DC government does everything for everybody. There's jobs programs. There's all type of welfare. Another problem is widespread everywhere is every building in DC, right? It could be a high-end luxury building built in Georgetown, which is a rich area, right? Every luxury building in DC has to have like 15 or 20% Section 8 in their building. So Section 8 is not only in the hood over in Southeast, it's everywhere, bro. It's everywhere. Section 8 is everywhere. So you got YNs basically just headquartered in every building. And I know it sounds messed up, like, you know, like.
What is the solution? If Trip is in charge.
If I'm in charge?
For 3 weeks. What does Trip do?
I couldn't, to be honest with you, I couldn't do anything in 3 weeks. My plan would take about 10 to 15 years. Because I would completely shut off government subsidies to anyone who isn't mentally ill or like, you know, mentally handicapped, a senior citizen, or like physically handicapped, like a paraplegic or something like that. If you're an able-bodied adult, I would not give you benefits of any sort. Yes, we may have to sacrifice a generation or two, but I think the ends would justify the means.
Can Trump say that? Just like you just said that, would Trump be allowed to even insinuate that?
I mean, this is his last run at it. So I mean, he can say whatever he wants now. I want to be clear. I like Trump too, but I definitely think he's compromised at this point. Like, it's clear. Like, somebody's got a gun to his head, influencing most of the decisions that he's making. But yes,
I want you to, so when I say that, people think mine's just because I'm a libertarian. Tell me why you say that, because to me it looked like the pressure's on. Everybody in that lineup looks 1,000% like shook, like they like read the fucking script. Like that's what it's coming off to me like.
Bro, I see it the same way. To be honest with you, looking back, I think the start of it was last summer when they shot and missed. I think that was the warning shot. I mean, look at everybody he's surrounded with. Everybody he's surrounded with is not America first, but first for a different country that we won't discuss. But even his vice president is they're all. I mean, he's compromised. I don't know whether he's willingly being compromised or he's forced into being compromised, but he's compromised. No doubt about it.
You know, I feel that same way about everybody that went in. I mean, when I remember being in DC for the what you call it, the Libertarian National Convention. And for everybody, my apologies to everybody if my audio is going a little bit echo. I'm turning down a bit. Y'all give me something in the chat and let me know. I think I might have fixed it just now, but if not, just let me know. But nonetheless,
you want StreamYard?
I'll say this. Disable monitor. Let me try something real quick, y'all.
If you go to audio
settings, but nonetheless, I think that it maybe that'll help. I think that when this happened was every single person in DC that at that Libertarian National Convention when I was there, it almost came off like this is too good. They was the Avengers. I was like, it's Vivek, it's RFK Jr., it's Tulsi Gabbard. It genuinely looked like it was a serious. Somebody said they can't hear me. I don't know if y'all. Somebody say they can't hear me. Somebody say it's echo. I don't know. If y'all Trip, if you can hear me, that's fine. Let me just.
I can hear you.
There was so many people that were a part of that I was like, man, this looks great. Defected Democrats that had enough of the system. It was almost to the point where I was like, this looks like a great movie. And when he came to DC, meaning Trump, I was front row at the Libertarian National Convention and was just like, listen, we need your support. She's horrible. And libertarians became the kingmakers there. They 1,000% pushed. It's like the tug of war. We pulled that little bit to get him over that thing. Then something happened. Every single one of those, I was like, Cash Patel comes off amazing. RFK Jr. was like, fuck that. You're not gonna be fat no more, right? Every single thing started to go in that direction. And it seemed like as they got the confirmations, something happened. Something happened. And then they got Dan Bongino. I know Dan Bongino. I've done his show a bunch of times. And I'm talking about, he was like, do not let go of this Epstein thing. Do not. And then he and Cash got in there and they sat down and they did that interview and they 1,000% turned and looked like they were just like. Remember in I can't remember where it was, but it was some sort of event. It might have been a funeral, and somebody was walking around giving all of the politicians like these white envelopes, and the politicians will open the white envelopes and like put them down and whatever. It felt like that. Like somebody said, "We're gonna give you every single one of what we have on you in public," and they all got shook. And it's starting to feel like that to me. And Trump looks like that now. I think he's just throwing red meat to the base. He's just saying certain things that, we're going to bring Hillary Clinton up on charges. Bro, you was already in the seat before and you didn't do it.
Right.
So to me, I'm looking like, as much as I like him, I like his moxie. I liked him since the 90s. Like, I read the Art of the Deal when I was in high school. But it's looking hella compromised to me. And I'm so glad that you tapped in and said, bro, like, listen, tell everybody where they can follow you at, because we're going to wrap up here shortly. Tell everybody where they can follow you, Trip. I want to say this, guys. Again, my very first podcast that I ever was on, ever. I didn't even fuck with phones at that time, really. Right? I was fresh out of some other things. My very first podcast that I did was with Trip and his team down in DC. So when people are supportive of our work, I want y'all to be supportive of them. So please, Trip, tell folks where they can follow you, where they can support, where they can tap in, and I want y'all all to do that.
For sure. I mean, you could just go to Trippin' Ain't Easy TV at YouTube. Just subscribe.
Hold on, Trip. I can't hear you no more, Trip.
Oh, my bad. Can you hear me now?
Right,
hello? All right. Yeah, you can just go to Trippin' Ain't Easy TV at YouTube and just hit the follow button. Subscribe. That's all I need.
Appreciate you, my brother. I'm gonna take you down, and then I'll make sure I send copies of this to you as well, my brother.
All right, bet, man. Thanks.
Solutionaries. I'm just telling y'all, these things start to look crazy. These things start to look, a little bit weird. And I'm so glad that the brother tapped in and is expressing those same sentiments. One, because he's in DC, and that's a perspective that I didn't even factor in. Okay, I didn't factor in that there actually are serious, Philly. They got the young people running around doing the flash mobs, but I thought for the most part that was done. But him jumping in and sharing with us, hey, somebody said turn my mic up. All right, let me turn my mic up. Y'all, listen, y'all ain't going. All right, how's this sound, y'all? Everybody, where we at here? Is this one good? Y'all give me some comments in the section. Pearson says the echo was gone, and I'm turning my mic back up. I'm turning it back up now. My volume's super low. Let's try here. Where am I good here, y'all? I'm good here. Mohagan says it's perfect. Who else? Jason says better. Okay, perfect. Bookworm says thumbs up. Perfect. Big Rob. Hey, listen, Rob got D in the middle of his name, so pause. So, I got to be careful. Big Rob will throw up a comment, and I'm about to say Big D, and I can't do it. can't do it, okay? But anyway, guys, these things are very serious, okay? And when we have people, Bookworm says I'm not too cool for headphones, right? When we have people that are boots on the ground, this is the power of the internet. This is the power of being able to communicate and get different perspectives. So that's a balanced take. Trip says, yo, it is the young bulls out there. They wildin', 20 people running around robbing people, cool. But I think that the solution there is more in alignment with give the people back their ability to defend themselves. I think that Trump campaigned like a libertarian, and he got into office and started operating like a rhino. And as Tripp said, it came off to me like something happened. I used to say this about Hollywood, and I want to give you guys some perspective. I was at a party in Hollywood years ago, and the party started out normal. And so as the night went on, no, before y'all start, it wasn't a fucking Diddy party. Pause. Cool the fuck out. It just didn't go down that way, right? But when make sure y'all subscribe to Trip. Hit that link in the chat section. I want everybody to do this, okay? All right? Jason says, oh, shit. No, it wasn't a Diddy party. It wasn't a Diddy party. I'm going to tell y'all the story real quick, and we're going to wrap up because I want everybody to make sure that you guys are spending time with family, loved ones, sharing the space all over the place, hitting the like. Thanks, everybody. Oh, we got another quick super chat. It was Charles. I appreciate you for that, brother. At the $5 super chat. Appreciate you tremendously for that. And Trip with the $20 one. All right. Let me go back to make sure that Trip gets his love. Make sure you guys subscribe to Trip's channel. He gonna talk that shit. If you faint of heart, you might get a little intimidated, but he's a good brother. All right. Saying this to say, I was at this Hollywood, LA party, and it started, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening. I get there. And as everything progressed, I started hanging out in the back. And at the back of this party, not like in a room, at the back of this party, there was this person on this table, and not like the sushi thing. It was a human, and people were eating this stuff, like eating off of the human. All right? I didn't know what that was, but I thought it was weird as shit. I thought it was weird, and I got the fuck out of there because I'm like, yo, that's creepy. And I don't mean like it was an artistic party and it was a regular party that later on, as I matriculated towards the back, there was what I now know was a spirit cooking. Okay? It's a spirit cooking. Mahagan says there's always weird things happening at the back of parties. Right? There was this spirit cooking. I did not know that phrase then. Okay? And of spirit cooking, I want y'all to Google it, grok it, whatever y'all use now. Okay? But I got out of there because I was just like, this is weird. And I was like, I want to go to a different scene. My point in saying that was, if I would have stayed there and participated, you never know what pictures would have shown of, me being at the thing or whatever, right? I just naturally just left because I was like, this ain't my scene no more. And I've hung out here for a while. And you party hop. I am of the belief that when we tying it back into Trump, I believe that he was let know. Bookworm says, I knew Maj was a part of the Illuminati Maj. I know that, in my opinion, there was, I've known for some time now that there was a conversation around the possibility that Jeffrey Epstein introduced Donald Trump to Melania, his current wife. I think that he might be a little bit embarrassed by that, and that's how he's associated with the Epstein client list. I 1000% do not believe that Trump was engaging with underage girls. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it. But stranger things have happened, but I don't believe that. But my point is, I think it could have been something along the lines of, hey, get right, or we going to do X, Y, and Z. When you start peeling back the onion, when you see that who Kash Patel's girlfriend is, does anybody in the chat know who Kash Patel's girlfriend is? When you start to see the strange and eerie placement of certain people that are around certain people, it starts to look like y'all got that call. We put you in position. Y'all got that call. So all of that moxie that you had to fight for the people, to defend and expose the cabal or whatever it is, it starts to go like, yeah, I hear you and all of that, but you got this position, and would you rather just go with the game, or would you like to be absolutely crushed? I think that when people go very, very hard for the people and freedom and liberty, and they see that they can completely be getting crushed, they start to go, well, I'm gonna just play ball. And why I kind of can relate to that is because, you guys, for the month of July, we were pushing to try to buy our Solutionary Center. I really, really thought we was gonna do it. I really thought everybody that watches the show was gonna tap in. I thought everybody was gonna repost. I thought everybody was gonna pitch in and was gonna buy our building and get the remainder in a month. It's not what happened. It's not what happened. Okay? And for those of you that don't know, my dad died last week. Okay? Yeah, my dad is dead. Okay? And I look at some of the people that have been very, very powerful for our community. I consider myself wanting to be one of those people in theory. I want to go down in history as the best Second Amendment activist of all time. Somebody that was about freedom, that's about liberty. And I think about Malcolm X. I think about how principled he was. I think about how amazing and the government tried to give him money. Thank you all for the condolences. I think about all of these things, and Malcolm pretty much died penniless. The people did not support and do not support the activists, right? And so and I'm not saying this to sound mean to you all, because I know you guys are tapping into the show. You got it's tight everywhere. So I'm not saying this as a diss to anyone, but I am saying I understand someone that puts so much energy. Bookworm says, this is such a serious moment. Why did you slide down in the chair like that? I was trying to bend my leg so I could stretch a little bit. Stop trying to play me. Y'all be trying to play me out this joint. Thank you, Protocol. I understand a person that has an activist mindset. I have an active mindset. I'm like, I want to be in competition with the Thomas Masseys, which is the homie. The Thomas Paines, the John Browns, the Frederick Douglasses, the Booker T. Washingtons, the insert people that were about freedom and liberty, right? That comes up with a serious education curve, and it comes at a serious sacrifice to the people that try to fight these fights. We got the civics class because this stuff is important. That's why we ask everybody to join the Solutionary 9. That's why we're still trying to push to buy the building and at least keep the classes going free to all. And I'll wrap up shortly here with where we are with that. But I'm saying this to say, as someone that can identify committing to something and being serious about helping the people, and then you not getting the windfall of support that you think I always say I could work harder, don't bitch, stop bitching, work harder, right? But sometimes you feel like, damn, I wish we could have got that off. I wish when I see people at the Chris Brown concert here in Philly, a whole stadium worth of people that's complaining about the system, but y'all spent however much money for the Chris Brown tickets, and I'm like, damn, if we could get that kind of support, we could get a lot done, right? I understand why somebody throws the towel in. I understand why, especially if somebody has a compromising photo, or even if it's not that compromising, even if it's just like, yo, Jeffrey Epstein introduced you to Melania. You want us to put that story out? And you're like, ugh. Then you start saying, oh, the Epstein files is bullshit, which everybody knows is not bullshit. The client list is not bullshit. So if that's what Trump, and he's a multi-billionaire, I can understand a Dan Bongino maybe gets drunk at a party, and it's something, it could be, and this is not proven, I'm just giving an example. He gets drunk at a party and he does something that's a little bit compromising to his marriage. And they feel like, well, shit, I'm not getting the support that I was supposed to get from the people anyway, so I might as well play ball and just ride this out. Trump's got a few more years. I go up the career ladder. I understand it. I have empathy for those people that choose to tap out. I'm tired. I tell y'all this, I'm tired. I look at people that don't do anywhere. Appreciate you, Charles. I look at people. Somebody said they got me on the CPAC tapes. I look at people that don't do half a third of the work that I do, that are like buying Lambos and shit, like fucked up people. I'm not gonna be that fucked up person, but I understand that if somebody isn't as strong as me mentally, I can see why they would tap out. And but anyway, I'm gonna wrap up with this, guys. For those of you that don't know, we failed at getting our goal. We still gonna push though. We don't know what's gonna happen with the Solutionary Center as it relates to other potential buyers. The owner of the building has to entertain other buyers. It's not an attack. He not the deep state. It's not none of that. But he's in the business of real estate, right? He's been super patient with us, and we've been late at times, and he's been supportive. So it's been great. But we're gonna keep doing the classes at the Solutionary Center and potentially in the region to try to still get our goal. If these other deals don't fall through, don't go through with him, we still want to get that center. And we still want to keep the work going. So I'm going to ask everybody to do something amazing. Everybody support the work. Buy a t-shirt. Now, if everybody donates at the $100 level, we're going to give you access to a Solutionary 9 membership. That's shooting drills. That's workout routines. That's meal plans. That's a private community. That's that civics class. Because a lot of people, again, don't even know that DC is not a city. Okay? Civics, history, all of these things are very important. So we're asking everybody to still support. I don't want to quit. I feel like quitting. I would hate quitting. I would hate to get this close and not be able to finish getting the goal. So if you want to donate towards the work, givesendgo.com/solutionary. It's right there on the post, right there in the chat. It's right there on the video. If you're watching this on X, it's my pinned post right above me. givesendgo.com/solutionary. Everybody that donates at the $100 level, lifetime membership to the Solutionary 9. All of the things that I mentioned. We have to get in shape. Our mental shape, our physical shape. We have to get a better understanding of civics and study. It's very important. We have to understand imminent threat. We had Trip on here earlier talking about 20 of these young boys just running around trying to rob people. But I bet you if them young boys try to rob people and somebody put bullets in their fucking ass, they would think twice again about it. Or if they even knew that there were more people that were armed, they would think twice about it. So these are things that we have to do to take our cities, our communities, our districts, our counties, our townships. We have to do that by being stronger, smarter, and better shooters. That's what the Solutionary 9 is about. That's what I'm going to ask every single person to support and do. If you can give it the $100 level, do so. Hit that link right there. You get access. I'll have your email. I'm going to send you access immediately. And if you can't, give it the $100 level. Give what you can. We cannot, just be contradictory because the guy that we like that's in charge is doing something that could look a little unconstitutional. We, can't call out, hey, the way that y'all campaigned isn't how y'all running things. Because that's what the Trump administration is looking like. That first 2 weeks, he was on fire. Now we arguing about who gets SNAP benefits and should the federal government take over the police in D.C. These are not deeper conversations. We're not having conversations about that Epstein client list. We're not having conversations about the horrible, horrible national debt and the still high spending. We are spending at more than Biden levels, okay? These are serious things. So we don't just get to say, let's be mums the word on it because we like the guy. Our standard is the Constitution, okay? And we improve ourselves and empower ourselves by taking that power back into our own hands. And that's what we're trying to do by continuing to work, the Second Amendment and firearms basics work, as well as giving you something. We have to empower ourselves. There's no better feeling to me than strengthening ourselves. I want you guys to be healthy. There's no better feeling. I'm in great shape. There's no better feeling than knowing you're healthy. There's no better feeling than knowing that you're capable, knowing that you can defend your family from these goofballs that are walking around in these metropolitan cities. It's very, very important. So I want to be very, very clear that we need everybody's support. We're going to keep riding until we get the goal, until the wheels fall off. Maybe the owner says the deal doesn't come through. Maybe it takes however much time for that to happen and we do something else, but we have to finish. And we need to finish by also making sure that we're supporting you and giving you the tools that you can help defend your family. So anyway, guys, thank you all for tapping in. My guy Trippin says, coming up on 74 to 75 hard challenge. That's another brother that has been supportive. Trip, as well as who he's talking about, is the author of the 75 Hard Challenge is our brother Andy Frisella. Good guy. Right? If you guys don't know about the Solutionary 9, the Solutionary 9 is kind of like a little bit of 75 Hard, but with more things involved in it. So you got one more day, my brother. I know you grooving and feeling a whole lot better, and your day has been jam-packed pause with productive work. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Again, guys, please. Thanks, Jason, for that super chat, too. Appreciate you for that $2 super chat. Again, guys, that's the link right there. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. I want to say thank you to everybody for tapping in. See you guys tomorrow, same time, 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to chop it up for an hour on the Maj Toure Show. We're going to talk about politics. We're going to talk about entertainment. We're going to talk about pop culture. But whatever we talk about, we're going to present solutions for the solutionaries. Thank you all for tapping in. Repost, share the show. I'll talk to y'all in a bit. Donate. GiveSendGo.com/solutionary. Appreciate y'all all. See y'all tomorrow. Be safe. Be solutionary.